Yep. So, hi everyone. My name is Nick. I'm a postdoctoral research fellow working in the School of Social Sciences at the University of Waikato in Hamilton, New Zealand. And in this presentation, I'm going to be outlining some findings and also offering some reflections from a paper that I wrote for the 2023 ISSA Graduate Paper Award. And this was done during my doctoral studies at the University of British Columbia in Vancouver, Canada. And the paper itself was entitled, "I Want to Change Minds and Destroy Stereotypes, Wheelchair Motocross Rider Portrayals on Instagram." So you might be wondering, what is wheelchair motocross? Well, wheelchair motocross, or WCMX for short, is an adaptive action sport that blends elements from skateboarding and bicycle motocross and consists of disabled folks using customized wheelchairs with shocks, grind bars, and skate wheels as caster wheels to perform tricks and stunts in skate parks and street-based settings. WCMX was first developed by Aaron Wheels Fotheringham in the 2000s and has since grown in popularity. And although numbers are tough to come by, some sources have suggested that WCMX is one of the fastest growing adaptive action sports in North America. And in recent years, WCMX competitions and exhibition events have been included in both the X Games and Dew Tour programs. However, despite increased popularity of the sport, little research has explored the sport and WCMX riders' participation in different environments, including online spaces like Instagram. Now, Instagram first launched in 2010, and according to recent statistics, has over 2 billion active users and is on pace to reach 2.5 billion users by the end of the year, making it one of the most popular social media platforms in the world. The application allows users to create their own do-it-yourself media by creating posts that uniquely forefront visual content in the form of videos and photographs. Yet more than just visual representations, posts can also include supplementary information like captions, which are blurbs of text, hashtags and geotags, which indicate one's geographical location, and audio. From here, other platform users can view, comment on, like, or engage with posts in various ways. Because of its DIY nature, Instagram has been championed as a digital outlet that can provide users with a greater sense of control and agency over how they are represented. And as scholars have argued, it can be a particularly fruitful space for members of marginalized communities, like disabled people, who are often absent from or misrepresented in mainstream media. It is between this sense of control and Instagram's foci on visual content that action sport participants and marginalized athletes alike have really flocked to the platform to create, share, and consume content. So with this in mind, in this paper, I was really interested in exploring how WCMX riders engage with digital spaces like Instagram, and was interested in learning more about the ways that they not only represent themselves on the platform, but also the messages and ideas being conveyed through their online portrayals. To explore this topic, I ended up conducting interviews with 10 WCMX riders, which included 3 women and 7 men, and used an adapted form of photo elicitation where I invited participants to share and discuss Instagram posts from their accounts that they thought were either meaningful or thought represented themselves and their experiences as a WCMX rider. Drawing on a critical disability studies perspective and using a reflexive thematic analysis, I analyzed the data set and developed 2 key themes. The themes that were developed were 1, portrayals of skill, progress, and capabilities, and 2, representations of risk-taking behaviors. According to participants, representations of skill, progress, capabilities, and risk-taking behaviors were often used to showcase their sporting identities and at once challenge ableist ideas and assumptions about what wheelchair athletes can and cannot do. Such representations, I argued, not only have the capacity to dismantle negative stereotypes and the stigma attached to disability, but can be used to frame disability in affirmative ways that focus on viewing disability as difference that can be celebrated and enrich lives, rather than viewing it as a negative attribute. Despite this potential, however, conversations with WCMX riders also illustrated how, at times, they felt a certain pressure to post positive and uplifting content to the platform, as this quote from one participant details. "I felt like I had to post these pictures on Instagram and show people that I'm living my life. But it almost became a lie. It became a mask. It looked like I was doing great, but my mental health was disastrous. I was severely depressed, suicidal, and just had to put on a show that I looked like I was doing good." Similar remarks were made by other WCMX riders who noted how, in some cases, this pressure resulted in heightened levels of stress and anxiety and ultimately affected their overall mental health and well-being. According to Pullen and colleagues, this pressure many WCMX riders felt may stem from the political economies embedded in social media, which place value on likes, the politics of looking, and in this case, the able-bodied gaze. Sitting in unison with Paulin and colleagues' recent work, findings from this study illustrated how the political economies of Instagram seem to not only influence how WCMX writers represented themselves on the platform, but how the political economies embedded in Instagram can affect users' mental health and well-being. In sum, the study's findings really illustrate a complex and somewhat paradoxical nature of self-representations on Instagram. On one side, they highlight how marginalized athletes like WCMX riders can use Instagram and self-representations on the platform in ways that challenge ableism and at once frame disability in affirmative ways. However, on the other side, findings also illustrated how the political economies of Instagram and economies that place value on likes, the politics of looking, and the able-bodied gaze can not only influence what WCMX riders like to post, but can also influence and lead to heightened senses of stress and anxiety, which can impact their mental health and overall well-being. So since I submitted this paper to the ISSA Graduate Paper Award competition, the piece has been accepted into IRSS and is a topic that I continue to explore in my postdoctoral research projects at the University of Waikato. Right now, I'm currently exploring the Paralympic potential of adaptive skateboarding and wheelchair motocross. And alongside these interests, I also continue to explore right on topics related to sport and social media, and the ways that social media platforms like Instagram can be used as research tools and spaces for critical inquiry. I would also just like to take an opportunity to really thank the adjudicators of the Graduate Student Paper Award and for all the excellent reviews that I had with IRSS. I think this is a wonderful competition. And I think it's a really great space for graduate students to really get in the process of writing, working with their ideas, and also getting in the process of submitting papers to getting reviews and feedback for. So I'd just like to thank you all for that as well.